Hey there, we're up here perched on a rooftop overlooking Central Park, and I'm joined by Brian Conley, who's going to tell us all about Alive in Baghdad. Brian, thanks for joining us. First of all, tell me about why the name Alive in Baghdad and how it came about.
When you watch the news, like CNN, Fox News, CBS, any of these news companies, and they do their Baghdad segment or their Iraq segment, they always start it with like live from Iraq or live from Baghdad. This is so and so, and we wanted to kind of counter that and say, look, people live in Iraq. They're there. You could talk to them to find out what their lives are like. You don't need to send some American or Western journalist to parachute in and figure it all out and sort of interpret it for people outside of Iraq. In Iraq now, we have 3 correspondents, Issam, Omar, and Marwan. And they're all shooting on sort of a weekly basis video with cameras that I took over there on my last trip. The internet's not good there. The electricity's not good. I'll do the function of just editing it together into a piece, but at least they're starting to take it on their own. I mean, when we started Alive in Baghdad, the idea was always that we would empower people in Iraq to tell their own stories.
Are there no Iraqi blogs that you've come across?
There are many Iraqi blogs that are in English, and there are many in Arabic as well, but these are all text. And they're not video, you know, and they're not photos. That's really an important thing for us is to get the face of an Iraqi out there, so that if people are watching our videos, you know, like we had a video recently, interviewed this woman, Mayada Ali, about her gallery showing, you know, and I want people to think, oh, you know, Mayada reminds me of like my crazy aunt who lives in San Francisco, you know, or someone else reminds me of like my little brother or my father, so that way it becomes that much harder for us to just stand idly by while we're dropping bombs and killing people, you know.
So you're trying to sort of paint a personal portrait of Iraq and Iraqis in the midst of political turmoil. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Even though you can't distract, I mean, you can't sort of differentiate almost between the political and the non-political right now. So how do you do that? How do you make that distinction? How do you choose what to feature on your blog day by day?
Well, I think it's interesting because one of the hard things is that right now, most of our work has been with Sunnis. And so some people say, oh, well, you're biased and you're pro-Sunni and you don't like the Shias. Well, the fact of the matter is, we've only recently been able to connect with a Shia to work as a correspondent. But to give you a real perspective, right? Our first Shia correspondent, this guy Marwan, was kidnapped on Sunday by Shiite militia. You know what I mean? So if you want to talk about how unsafe it is for Sunnis, it's not even safe for Shiites. You know, and he was luckily, you know, thankfully, he was released on Wednesday after about 72 hours, and we're going to do an interview with him soon, and we'll post it up as soon as we can get the tape out of Iraq so people can hear what happened. But from Omar, I mean, I've heard that he was beaten, the camera was smashed. We believe he has a broken arm now. So we have to really reassess, like, how do we do this? How do we show people life and also keep our people safe, you know? It's really hard.